What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and I'm back with another video. Now, this week, the next few weeks, I'm going to be going back to some lists. Now, I was doing like top 5 from certain directors, which I might do again in a little while, might be doing some actors, but I did put a poll on my Instagram with some ideas, and the one that got the most votes was top 5 underrated movies. Now, I will also be doing overrated movies or movies that I find to be overrated. I'll do that in the next video, but this one I'm focusing on underrated films. Now, my criteria for this was pretty much these movies were not like big hits at the box office. They didn't make a ton of money. And while I do think they're movies that like big time movie fans have seen, for me, what makes something underrated is that it's not really talked about, or you don't hear it come up in conversation as people talking about great films. Or casual moviegoers. Like, I have a lot of friends who watch movies, but maybe they don't go every single week, and they have never seen these movies or maybe even heard of them in some instances. So for me, that was kind of my criteria for underrated. Again, this is subjective. These are my opinions. These are movies that I think are really good that still a lot of people either haven't seen or don't really talk about. But those in the know or those who have seen them generally kind of enjoy them in my experience. So before I get started, if you would please consider subscribing to the channel. That way, every time new videos drop, you'll get notified. Hit the bell icon. Give me a thumbs up down below if you enjoy these sort of top 5 rankings or lists. And also, if you could leave a comment, what are 5 movies that you feel are underrated? Do you feel any of these are underrated? Or do you think these are not that good? I want to know your opinion down below. And these are, while this is called a top 5, there's 100,000 movies that I could put as underrated. And these are not necessarily the 5 most underrated in my opinion. These are just 5 movies that I find to be underrated, and they're in no particular order. So first, I'm just gonna grab whatever's on top here. And this is a movie called A Monster Calls. Now, this is directed by Juan Antonio Bayona. Yeah, he directed Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, which I know a lot of people don't like. He also did a movie called The Impossible, which could also be on this list. Very underrated. This movie, very underrated. I still know, like, a lot of people haven't watched it. Maybe because it's a little bit sad. It is not the most, like, happy, cheerful movie. Great cast. Felicity Jones is in this, Sigourney Weaver. Basically about a kid whose mother is sick, and he draws this monster, and essentially that monster comes to life, and he has a relationship with him. And it is a beautiful film. I think it's really, really worth your time. But again, it is a drama. It's a little bit sad. So, maybe you bring some tissues. I don't know. Next on my list is going to be Lucky Number 11. Now, this is one of those movies where every time I talk to someone who has seen it, they love it. Like me. I think it's great. This is like a heist thriller. Good cast: Josh Hartnett, Lucy Liu, Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Stanley Tucci, Ben Kingsley. I mean, just a who's who of actors. It's got a lot of twists. It's got a lot of turns, and it's just a really, really solid heist movie. There's some humor, so there's a little bit of comedy, but it's not a comedy, but there's some comedy in it. But yeah, just a really good script, really good actors. I think if you've never seen that one, definitely check it out. Next is going to be, in my opinion, Paul Walker's best acting, and that's Running Scared. I actually saw this in the theater. This came out like just after I graduated high school, and I went to see it in the theater, and even then I was like, this movie's amazing. And then it didn't make much money. A lot of people didn't go check it out, but I think it has kind of found a life on home video, on DVD, Blu-ray, stuff like that. This movie is awesome. This is like a crime movie, kind of action, but more like a crime thriller, I guess. Paul Walker, Vera Farmiga in an early role. This is like the first movie I remember seeing her in. Yeah, you got Chaz Palminteri is in this. This is set in New Jersey. So it's got crime, it's got like mafia guys and dirty cops and kids. There's some kids that get involved in some shady stuff. This movie's crazy. It goes in a lot of really dark places, but it is super good. And Paul Walker, again, best acting he's ever done. I don't care what anybody says. All right, next up. Now, this is one called Love and Monsters. Now, when I heard the title, I thought, that sounds stupid. What the heck? Love and Monsters. That sounds like something I don't want to watch. Has Dylan O'Brien in it. I mean, he's okay. But this was good. I don't even think it came out in the theater. If it came out in theaters, it did not play near me whenever it came out. It was a 2020 movie, so it could have been a COVID thing. I don't know. But I will tell you, this movie is really good. It kind of reminds me tonally of Zombieland. I'd probably put it is a PG-13 instead of R, but it's most in that vein, kind of a comedy monster movie love story, like mashup. It's a post-apocalyptic. You got these groups of people and these monsters that have like taken over Earth, and Dylan O'Brien is pretty much trying to get back to this girl that he loved. That's like the love of his life, and he's trying to get back to her after a few years of being apart. And it's like an adventure. It follows him traversing the world that's full of monsters. Really good effects, good action scenes, and a cute love story. So Love and Monsters, actually really good, underrated film. And the last one on my list, now this was also pretty recent. What year was this? 2020. This was also like 2020, 2021, something like that. Antlers. Antlers was one of those movies that it kind of just came and went. Like, I remember the trailers, then it came out, some people saw it, and then it was gone. And then it got a kind of a bare bones Blu-ray release. But this movie's really good. This reminds me of one of those, it's like one of those folktale type horror movies. It is got some really, really cool imagery in it. I think Guillermo del Toro was a producer on it. Yeah. Kerry Russell is in it. Jesse Plemons is in it. Good cast. It's not super scary, in my opinion, but it's almost like a good dramatic horror movie. So Antlers is going to be the fifth one. So there you have it. A Monster Calls, lucky number 11, Running Scared, Love and Monsters, and Antlers. A good weekend. If you have a weekend and you haven't seen these movies, just watch them. And they don't really have anything to do with each other tonally, but they're all very good films in my opinion. So those are 5 underrated films that I think you should check out if you have not already. Next video, I will be back with 5 movies that are overrated. Now, I might like them, but maybe they're just going to be movies that I think are talked about more highly than I find them, even if they're good. Doesn't mean they're bad. But so that'll be my next video. And until then, take it easy.